Alright, yeah, just I won't be uploading every day, but I'll do what I can. What I have energy for, or if I have any energy, whatever. Yeah, the comedy alien videos, I'll continue. Those are fun. Sometimes they might be shorter than. I might just make them a minute long. Let's see if I have anything to say. Kind of give it a bit of a break in that regard too. But there's always something you can do there. There'll be some winners, and yeah, those are fun though. Overall, it's different than your run of the mill. Also, I guess I don't think there's anything like that out there. I haven't looked really. I have no idea. Those are fun. I don't get much fun in life half the time. That's it. Which I'm not complaining on that regard. I mean, I can't see. Let me turn this off for a second. Can't see anything. Going blind. Oh, great. No wonder. Alright, got it. So, what's the agenda for today? Not sure what's going on in the world. Oh yeah, Incarnation. I was going to do this yesterday, but I didn't have any energy. So, of course you can't speak for everybody here. You can say it's also a download. I think this is nothing new either, but this is also, I imagine a lot of people are on their last incarnation. Because what else does this world have to, where's this world going exactly, besides nowhere? It's not like in the 80s where people were having fun. In the 90s, now it's like, I don't know if anybody's having any fun, actually. Yeah, but the internet helps helps the communications, you could say, for closing out timelines, you could say. Just doesn't mean the world's going to shut down. This kind of goes back into the robot stuff I was talking about the other day, about the AI coming in, and well, it's not there. I don't think it's there to just like make people's lives miserable. It's just the transition where the world's going. It's not fully shutting down. I would say the planet's turning into like a research project. Right now, it's just a hell pit of meaninglessness, mostly. That's where the mean girls can be mean and then live a failed incarnation. Of a nice mean girl failed incarnation. I don't think they look at it that way. But that's pretty much what it is. It's like live a run in the mill. At least that's what I've been saying. I'm not to bring it up. Screw it, right? Who cares? At least somewhere on that timeline. Let's put it that way. And more power to them on that. Hope it works out for you. It's like, how's your life? Well, it's a failed incarnation. Enjoy it while it lasts, right? You got our whole life to live in whatever the hell that is. But yeah, this is as the AI becomes more self-aware. I don't think it's going to be like wiping us out. Good luck with it. It'd be doing us a favor if that was the case. I think we really get out of here faster. Bring it on. But probably not. It's just a slow transition of people just not needing to be here anymore. And because the machines will do the human's job, and we don't have to be here, and that's good. And go somewhere else. If you need to go through this, you'll find another world that sucks. More power to you on that one. Maybe it would be the 1980s or something that's not so, dead zoned. I don't think the U.S. is gonna falter on the debt. I don't feel like it will. Somehow it will survive. Not that it's a transition to wherever the hell it's heading into. And the rest of the world can go with it. I guess we'll find out. It might not be as exciting as somebody want it to be. Always the gloom and doom and all that people can make videos about and all that, but it doesn't mean that it'll happen, of course, unless it might happen to themselves, because it might attract it to themselves. It just seems that this world is kind of running its course, but it'll still exist. It just won't have as many people here. It'll, when there's enough people to keep it going, there'll still be incarnations, but not as much. Of course, whatever that. I mean, it's still got a long ways to go. I mean, there's still some that will incarnate here again, because they just didn't need this place, man. When you think you know everything and all that, maybe if 10 more incarnations might do them some good. Who knows? Like I say, failed incarnations. Maybe they just continue, just one failed incarnation after the other. Maybe that's the, who knows? Yeah, without going into that. But yeah, just basically, it's just this world will eventually run its course, but just beyond kind of life support. Yeah, the machines will be running whatever jobs it needs to run. I mean, there'll be entities here. I feel like there'll be science projects and things like that here. Like I said, it's not going to happen instantly. We just have to endure this, whatever this is. Just, I don't know. It's just we're working with a world that does not want to do it. A society is just not wanting to evolve. I mean, some do. Most are not interested, or those are not. Either those that are not interested or not there yet. But then there's those that are interested, and either they think they know everything, they join a cult, and so on. Same old story, right? They join a cult, which is very common, and I don't know if, it's up to them to break out, whatever. They can do whatever they want with that, right? That seems to be the commonplace, though, for many. It's just, like I said, for some it's their process. They're just not quite ready to connect to themselves yet, fully. And of course, the podcast disinfo agents that are having a blast and, going to go swim with the dolphins and all that nonsense and just live a nice disinfo life. And they're aware that they're not the good guys. Yeah, that's the other thing. Feel like you're doing good, but it's like, are you really the good guy, or are you just the bad guy? Just doesn't know that you're the bad guy yet. So yeah. Well, it's working. Well, they get to that level. They get to even some of the spiritual teachers are sellouts. That's the life, right? Sort of. Maybe on the surface it looks successful, but there's the universe sees all of this. Sees all the sellouts, sees all the disinfo agents, and lets it run its course, basically. But the soul that's doing all that stuff, it's not looking so good on them. So whatever. But and those guys would get probably recycled back into the planet. I don't even know if they even have. Do they even have like freedom right now? Some of them are just already have handlers, and they have no freedom here. They just have to manipulate society. They can't break free of it, but then they have to leave that lifestyle, that manipulative lifestyle. And why would you do that if you have a huge following? Why would you bother with that? Just rather be a stooge. So anyway, without going into all that, what happened to somebody somewhere, and haven't done any of those in a while. Okay, doing new stuff on this. Haven't done this in a while either, I don't think. Zymoton.com, private sessions. Scheduler. Shop here. Yeah, the reason I don't get around these other channelers is because a lot of them are sellouts. No thanks. I think I'll pass. And the podcast stuff, same situation. I don't hang out with those guys. They're like the 1%, right? Once again, sell out disinfo agent. No thanks. I'll pass. It's a sewer out there. It's raw sewage. And they have a huge following, and that's sewer system has, it's backed up. So, yeah, spirituality is a mess. You see the Catholic stuff and all, metaphysics is not much different in a lot of ways. And it's boring. If you can get outside of all that, it's not easy. Well, of course, as I said, it's a learning process. And sometimes you have to go through the sewer and all that to find your way. So, it's like, incarnating to the Catholics and whatever else, mainstream religion, same thing. It's just find your awakening outside of all that. It's difficult to get through all that, though. But the main thing is a lot of people are probably not coming back here. You've probably heard that before, but it seems more prominent because, like I said, where is this world really going? Nowhere. Where is it now? Nothing to write home about. Is it really? I mean, is it? Just because the mean girls are having a good time with their failed incarnation and don't even know that it is a failed incarnation doesn't mean it's, or the SJW stuff and all that. It just mean they're, just because they're having a good time. If they're having a good time, that says a lot about this place, doesn't it? It's like, it's an F planet. F students having fun on their F planet. But it's a learning process. Well, that's how it's something to go through their maturity process, and to mature, you got to go through a lot of difficulties. That's why you got to really fail. I mean, really, when your soul wants to really mature, you got to have some major failings. And of course, one thing about starting like a business and all that, and that's all failure. Which is a freaking nightmare. It's like, there can be some winnings there, but when you're starting from nothing, you're like failure. But that's also a mature soul to go through something like that. And if there's other souls that are just all, I just use the mean girls as an example. And they're all having a blast and whatever, like the dumbest things ever. But they have to kind of fail constantly for their soul to finally mature and become something of value. And not to say it's not valued. Now it's just not valued very much. It's thrift store crap. And become something more. Let's put it that way. It's easier said than done. Yeah, you have to have weight issues and just a lot of bad stuff just for you to start to evolve, because some of them are just such manipulators and think they have it all together, and the universe is like, yeah, you're an asshole. You're an asshole. It's like, okay, you gotta be this, whatever this is, and you gotta eat your cake and have your cake and eat it, I guess, huh? So anyway, for those that aren't like that, bless you. Those that are like that, whatever. forgettable. Enjoy the F incarnation. Well, your F guides. And the guides are warning too, of course. Of course, they can only work with what we have. And most of society is pushing back constantly. Oh, jeez. It's like moving through mud. Anyway. Alright, so, going to somebody, higher consciousness of, the meaning of life. We'll just leave it open. So, get a Pleiadian energy. So, alright, blessings. Greetings to you, the Pleiadians. There's several versions of why your world is the way it is, but there's definitely lessons, that needed to be learned, and especially for those, speaking from the Pleiadian point of view, the Pleiadian beings that were here, not watching your planet close enough. You can say this, they become. You can say, not exactly using the word stuck here, but technically, karmically trapped here, you can say. So let's put it this way. So you're supposed to be guarding this, this Eve, this Garden of Eden. And they look the other way, and then the invaders come in, and and they just continue to look the other way, even when they know the invaders are there. They're running amok and ignoring it. And then eventually doing something, it's getting off their asses, basically, but when it's too late. So when that occurs, the ones that are supposed to be protecting your world are, you can say they're kind of, some of them are fallen angels. But they have to, clean up the mess here that they started. With their, and some of them might have already put in their piece. They've done all they can and still not happy. But others come in just to, sometimes you just have knowledge, and maybe too much knowledge. Like you say, like the right man or right woman for the job, even if you don't want that job. And that's another reason why certain ones incarnate here. It's like, it's kind of like a dirty job. Nobody wants it. But it's like, and there's this, it's more than just doing it for yourself, but it's also, for your own inner healing and, working on yourself. But it's also what you can bring to others and, help. It's like kind of like being a missionary, you could say. Even like the positive side of priesthood, you could say, or even a monk. Monk has better karma. Usually, priests don't have the. Well, they can. Priests can. Of course, they allow the church to tell them what to do on their personal lives, but then again, sometimes they need that to focus on themselves and help others, devote themselves to others. Nuns do the same thing at some level, but of course there's some manipulation there and so on. Obviously some just break those oaths for good reason, which is a good thing. Instead of being solvent, and they find somebody and then they break that, which is good. But sometimes they need that type of, they need that, to be alone, focus on them, focus on others. So there's a positive connection to it. So there's a brighter side to everything. To some level, not always. So speaking for the Pleiadians, though, coming here and just looking the other direction, but also, during the time of Atlantis, and as the darkness creeped in, a lot of the Pleiadians looked the other way because they felt like society needed to go through that, not realizing they themselves would be, indoctrinated into this world themselves. It's like, but you didn't really do anything. And that's true, they did not. until it was too late. They kind of like, but society did a lot of things it should not have been doing. And there's the dark Pleiadians that did a lot brought in this darkness, like literally brought it in. A lot of them are not allowed on this planet anymore. And that's a whole other story there. Because some of them, not just the Pleiadians, there's other beings involved with it, but they just, they found an innocent race of people and just manipulated it. And yes, they needed those lessons, but of course they took it to the extreme. The idea was kind of like to bury society, bury the human race, to be completely under control, and it has been somewhat successful, not fully. But you're seeing what was worldwide mind control is. But even those under mind controls, they do have like every so often a window opens where they can see the light, you can say, outside of it. They even know they're being controlled, but they already signed up for it. So, yeah, and there's a lot of succubus frequencies here, and every type of parasite energy known to this universe is here to some level. And yes, humanity is smart enough to, maybe not, endure it, but not necessarily to recognize it fully. I mean, they recognize it in their own personal life, especially when they get bitten. But once again, some of them get pulled into a dark relationship because it just, it sounds exciting until it's not. So they know what they're getting themselves into until they get bitten. It's like, so okay, this was not a good idea after all. So it's kind of like once again back to the Pleiadian energies back in the ancient times of kind of allowing darkness to occur even in their own lives and not doing anything about it. Because normally, beings here are aware they're getting into a bad relationship, and once again, they need it for their own internal soul growth. So the Pleiadians here got more than what they bargained for. Well, because they're also taking on karma from others. They can't handle their karma. So it's kind of like a guardian angel to that level, to take on a lot of the world's problems on their own selves, and giving some relief to others that they're going through their own turmoil. Because a lot of beings can't handle all this stuff as they thought they could. So, for the incarnation process, it's still up to the individual to decide not to come here, but many are deciding not to. And this world is also showing that it's not going to make it easy being here, as you can see. But not to let your mind get too, just clear out the clutter and just find what's best for you. It's good to look for what brings you some kind of joy if it's not interfering with other incarnations. But many are really focusing more on themselves in this incarnation, not in a bad way, because they have no choice, because connecting to others is not as easy as it used to be. It's becoming very toxic. And those that are impossible to be around, well, they have to live with that for the rest of their incarnation until they become more self-aware. Maybe they're just toxic. They're just not aware that they are that way until they, graduate from their own narcissism. So, what's this?